What is up, everybody? It is JT Sports. I am back to you guys with another video. In this video, I'm going to be discussing how improved will the Tennessee Titans defense be this upcoming NFL season. Now, last year, the Titans had one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Now, the three biggest reasons for why the Titans had the struggles that they had last year on defense was because, one, they couldn't get pressure on the quarterback. Two, they couldn't get off the field on third down. And three, their secondary was not good. Now, those are going to be the three areas that we're going to be kind of taking a deep dive in this video. Now, when it comes to the pass rush, the Titans were 29th in the NFL in sacks per game. They didn't really get pressure on the quarterback all that often. Now, you got to look at Harold Landry. Harold Landry had 9 sacks in 2019. I was expecting him to have a breakout season last year in 2020, and he took a step back. He only had 5.5 sacks. Now, Tennessee brought in Bud Dupree in free agency. Now, being a Steelers fan, I love Bud Dupree. Bud Dupree has came on over the last 2 years for Pittsburgh. He had a breakout year in 2019 where he had 11.5 sacks. I felt that he should have been a Pro Bowler that year. In 2020, he had 8 sacks, but his season got cut short due to a season-ending injury. If he would have played all of last year, he probably would have had 13 sacks or more. So you look at the addition of Bud Dupree, that definitely should help out Harold Landry. And both those guys should feed off each other. Now, my biggest question about Bud Dupree isn't, how he's going to look post-injury, but it's going to be, is he going to be able to be that primary pass rusher? Because in Pittsburgh, he was a Robin. TJ Watt was Batman. Bud Dupree was Robin. TJ Watt got all the attention. But Dupree ended up getting free looks at times, and that ended up helping him out a lot. It also helped the fact that you had Stephon Tuitt, and you also had Cam Hayward eating up blockers as well. So for Bud Dupree, my question is going to be, is he going to be able to be that true number one pass rusher that Tennessee needs? Now, when you have Harold Landry on the opposite side, that should help him out. Because if Harold Landry's doing good, that's going to help free up Bud Dupree. And if Bud Dupree is doing good, that's going to help out free Harold Landry. So I think both of these guys should be able to feed off each other in a sense when it comes to when one is doing good, the other should be doing good as well. Then you also have rookie pass rusher Rashad Weaver out of Pittsburgh. He was one of my biggest sleepers in this past year's draft. He could end up having a pretty solid rookie year. So for Tennessee, you're hoping that your pass rush should be a lot better than what it was last season, which I believe that it will be, because you had Jadeveon Clowney. He didn't really pan out all that well. He did struggle with injuries, but even when he was on the field, he wasn't all that great. So I definitely feel like Bud Dupree should end up helping out this pass rush. And even if Bud Dupree doesn't end up being that double-digit sack guy, he should still be able to give you around 8 to 9 sacks. Now, if the pass rush improves, that should help out the third down defense. Now, in the NFL, this is a passing league, and oftentimes in third down situation, the opposing team's offense is probably looking at a third and medium, third and long situation, which is an obvious passing situation. So if you can't get pressure on the quarterback, that's going to put your defense at a major disadvantage in third down situations, because then the quarterback's going to have all day to throw and move the chains. Now, a good scenario of the pass rush being a deciding factor in the third down defense last year for Tennessee was that Cincinnati game. There was a play, well, there were several plays when Joe Burrow was able to extend the play outside the pocket, keep drives alive. There was one play that stuck out to me. When Joe Burrow broke out of a sack, he rolled out of the pocket, and he rolled all the way to the right side, pretty much near the sideline, and threw an absolute dart. Then you have the Green Bay Packers game when Aaron Rodgers essentially had all day. When I say all day to throw, he literally had like 11 seconds, which is all day in the NFL. to throw the football, Tennessee couldn't do nothing against Green Bay. Like, Aaron Rodgers was just a magician. Like, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers put on some baby oil before the game or whatnot, but Tennessee just couldn't get their hands wrapped up on Aaron Rodgers. So the third down defense should improve with the pass rush improving, because then if you're able to get pressure on the quarterback, you should be able to get pressure on the quarterback in third down situations, because then you get the ball back to your offense. So with the pass rush improving, that's going to also improve the third down defense, because oftentimes Tennessee's defense was in scenarios where the opposing team was in obvious passing situations on third down, and since they couldn't get pressure on the quarterback, the team had all day to sit back in the pocket, survey the field, and keep the drive alive and keep the offense off the field. Now, the secondary is the biggest area of concern, okay? Because you lost Malcolm Butler, you lost Adoree Jackson. So now you bring in cornerback Janoris Jenkins, which Janoris Jenkins had a really good season last year for the New Orleans Saints. There were a lot of Saints fans who were really upset that the Saints weren't able to obtain and keep Janoris Jenkins. And he had 3 interceptions, 12 pass deflections. Now, he is up there in age. You wonder when age is going to end up catching up to Janoris Jenkins. But for right now, he still is really good. And I think he definitely is going to be a boost there. I think he's better than Malcolm Butler. I think Malcolm Butler has regressed over the last couple of years. So you definitely upgrade there. Then you had Adoree Jackson. He left for the New York Giants in free agency. I just think that Adoree Jackson hasn't really been as good as what he was when he first came in. His first 2 years, he was really good. But after that, I think injuries kind of held back Adoree Jackson in a sense. So you look at Janoris Jenkins, and you're hoping that rookie Caleb Farley should be 100% when the regular season rolls around. Now, Caleb Farley was the third best cornerback prospect in this past year's draft class behind J.C. Horn and Patrick Surtain. He was supposed to be a top 15 selection, but he ended up falling down to Tennessee in the late portion of this past year's draft because he had like a lingering back injury that a lot of scouts and a lot of general managers had concerns about. So for the Titans, they got a really big steal in being able to select Caleb Farley at the part of the draft that they were able to get him. Now, if he's able to stay fully healthy, I think he's going to end up becoming one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL fairly quickly. This guy has all the tools in the world to be a lockdown corner in this league. Then on top of that, you also have Christian Fulton there. You have rookie Elijah Molden, who right now is listed as a safety. But when you look at what he did during his time for Washington, he was more of a hybrid defensive back. He played slot, he played safety as well. So kind of like your modern day, safety in terms of what you want him to be able to do. Kind of like how Kansas City utilizes Tyrann Mathieu in a sense. So although Elijah Molden is listed as a safety, don't be surprised if you see Tennessee in certain packages like in nickel and dime situations have him playing near the line of scrimmage as like another cornerback, slot cornerback in certain formations, because that's how he was utilized during his time for the University of Washington. He does offer flexibility there in terms of how, you could use him in certain packages and whatnot. He's also a very good tackler as well. So I think Elijah Molden, if utilized properly, could be a really good addition to the Tennessee Titans defense. Then the linebacking core. The linebacking core, as of right now, is the strength of this defense. You got Rashaan Evans. You got Jaylen Brown there. So I don't really have any concerns about the linebackers there. So with the Tennessee Titans improving when it comes to their pass rush with Bud Dupree, you also improve the cornerback position. You bring in Janoris Jenkins, although he's up there in age, still really good. You got Caleb Farley there. This defense definitely should be better than what it was last year. Now, I don't know if this is going to be, a top 10 defense or whatnot, but I definitely think that this defense definitely is going to have a night and day difference this season compared to what it was last year. And to be quite frankly honest with you, I honestly don't understand why the defense underperformed the way they did, because around this time last year, Tennessee probably had a top 10 defense from a talent standpoint. You had Jadeveon Clowney, you had Adoree Jackson, Malcolm Butler. Like, this defense had all the makings of being an elite defense. And unfortunately, you had the injuries that caught up to him. But on top of that, you just had the whole entire defense that underperformed last year. And Mike Vrabel deserves a lot of blame for that, because he is a defensive-minded coach. If you're a defensive-minded coach, the worst part of your team should not be the defense. So I also think there were some schematic issues that Tennessee had, because anytime you have the amount of talent that they have that has the season that they had last year where everybody underperforms, you got to take a look at the scheme. So maybe they changed some things around schematically, defensively, but overall, I expect this Tennessee Titans defense to drastically have a bigger turnaround than what they had last year, because last year that defense was awful. So this defense should probably be, middle of the pack, probably should be around that 15th range. They do have the potential to be a tad bit better, where they could be on the outside of being a top 10 defense, but I'm expecting this defense to kind of be like average in a sense. And I think if you're a Tennessee Titans fan, you should be satisfied with having that average defense, because last year your defense was terrible. So I expect this defense to definitely have a night and day difference this year than what they had last year. So let me know how good you guys feel the Tennessee Titans defense will be this year. Do you guys think that the Titans defense will improve this year compared to where they were last year? Make sure that you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content, and thanks for watching.